Hi guys, Tungsten here. So today we're going to go through this Blaster Wasp76. Right, so first of all, when I received this blaster, the seller actually tells me that they are already preparing a upgrade kind of a replacement part package. Either I can wait for it and they'll install it for me, or can have the blaster first, and when the so-called the replacement part is here, they will send it to me. So I opt for to receive the blaster first, so that when the replacement part is here, I can see exactly what are being replaced. Yeah, so first off, this blaster itself, it comes like this, and actually the top and the bottom half can be kind of separated, and it is actually kind of secure using this type of retaining pin. And maybe I'll go just show it to you. It is just kind of a pin and a kind of a catch kind of construct over here. It's just a pin, and then there's this kind of catch over here whereby you clip into place. When it's here, it actually did not kind of clip into place yet, so it's actually in my opinion it's actually good, so that I can actually easily remove it and do whatever I want with it first, then I can put them back. Okay, it comes with a magazine. Also, this portion over here, the wiring is actually through the handle itself, but I've relocated. And how do I do it? Is basically I remove this kind of handle itself. There are 4 screws inside. You can access it from underneath, and then after that there are 2 screws I believe I removed, and with that you can kind of like separate the shell a little bit, just enough for you to redirect the wiring. So to the back there is a hole, kind of, so I just thread through it and extend it, because I do have the intention of doing a battery stock for this fella over here, and that'll be it. So with the blaster, they actually come with this kind of foam darts over here. This is, I think, the most expensive shot dart that is currently available in the market. It is kind of using the ultra foam, right? And then the head is like the kind of the Avenger Force head, I think, right? I don't have those darts, right? So a little bit of assembly that is required, so I don't think it's that difficult. You can just slot it in, okay? Kind of I have to kind of position it slightly, and then you can, I've tried before, yeah, you can just slot it in, and you can place this thing over here, and there are screws whereby you can tighten over here, and you're all done. But for this segment, I want to start things slightly different. I'm just going to dismantle kind of the top and bottom half first, then later on we'll go through the firing and the FPF and whatnot, right? So to do that, basically you can just kind of remove the 3 posts, like I say. Now this post, if I'm not wrong, they are M4, right? And I am going to most likely replace this post with something that I can kind of is like a nut kind of a lock, whereby it'll be probably easier for me to remove in the future if I need to. I believe this is 30, this is 40, so I'm not too sure okay what kind of length I'm gonna get so that it fits the screw as well. But with that 3, one is already removed before the video, is at the back, so there are just 3 of them, and you can actually kind of pry it open just like that. Now I've not tried firing this or whatever, okay, so I'm just going to show you what you get. So once you got it, you realize that they have kind of put some lubricant, but it's not really spread out yet. So later on I'll probably do some kind of spread it out better. Okay, again the internal here, okay, you can see there's some loops over there, but probably you want to spread it out nicer, right? So over here I've heard that sometimes you need to lubricate this post over here to get this action smoother. And then of course over here you might want to add some lubricant over here. We'll let the catch kind of move freely. Okay, but I'll try that in the future. Not say in the future, later on, after the kind of the kind of off camera, right? That's what I want to say, right? So this is like a real tough spring. Oh, okay, I'm trying to push it and it's really pretty hard to overcome, right? So yeah, so this is just the top half. There's no rails or anything, so you really have to redesign something to get a complete look, and I do have the intention I'm going to redesign certain part of it, right? So looking at this, okay, this should be the safety. Okay, just to kind of switch this switch to be connected or not. Okay, so later we'll try it. Okay, and everything is pretty raw. Okay, just gears and wires. There's no kind of PCB board or anything. The motor itself over here definitely is bigger than our flywheel type of motor, but it's actually, in my opinion, also not exactly that big. So it's amazing that this thing can overcome the spring when priming, right? And when I check the wire that comes with it, this wire itself is actually pretty thin. And I checked the so-called the reading on it. I think it's a 20 AWG. Okay, so basically I stand it, okay, for my battery later on, right? So this is more or less it, right? So another thing, okay, let's just put it back. No, I don't think we need to put it back at this point in time. Maybe we talk a little bit more over here. Can I put it does come with a magazine, a transparent one. This one is not the worker mag. Okay, go in, right? This release over here, it is not exactly the best release. Okay, it's very sharp and very short, right? So probably another thing that you can kind of improve. So again, pressing it is like, oh my god, it's like, oh, it's pretty sharp. But anyway, this thing is actually pretty tight, right? And then of course the clearance is just like that. There's no flare or something like that. Okay, so you do have to position it and then just push it in. Okay, and then you lock it in. Now, can it work with a worker mag? I have 3 over here. Okay, all 3. So over here, okay, you can slot in a worker mag without any problem. Finally, a blaster that can take a worker mag. Okay, over here, I'll say this one, the short one with the worker wording all the way to the top. This one is the one. It's rather tight. Okay, it's pretty tight, but this is like I think the one that is 6 capacity. So anyway, I'm not too worried about that. Okay, and then of course the last one, again, you can fit it in, no problem at all. So in fact, the given magazine is more or less the same. Okay, but I'll say it's a pretty tight fit. Okay, it's not going to like you don't have a drop mag kind of thing to it, I guess. Alright, so more or less this is an overview of the kind of the blaster. We'll fix it up, we'll loop it up, and then we'll do some firing tests, and we'll get some FPS. Okay, one thing to note also, this thing over here, when I first got it, it is pretty sharp. Okay, especially the internal. So basically I kind of use the tools to kind of this tool over here to kind of like give it a few rounds to make it slightly smoother, so that you don't get your darts kind of cut off or scraped, okay, when you're doing this, right? Okay, so that's that. So I'm going to stop the video, loop everything up, put everything together, and we can put some battery there and do some testing with the given darts as well as some other darts that I have, right? After I opened up the blaster, I realized that the catch is actually broken, as well as the catch spring is actually not in the best of condition. It is out of place, so I have to get all the upgrade parts and now do all the upgrades first before I can even have a successful firing. So what you're looking at here are all the parts, so-called the upgrade parts that is actually prepared and given. Yeah, so okay, it's a lot more than I anticipated. Now on top of this upgrade pass, I also bought myself a longer barrel as well as a bolt guide to guide the darts better and a metal catch. Okay, I think the metal catch is actually important because even the upgrade parts, is kind of like a plasticky material. So I highly recommend the guide as well as the catch itself. So to open up the barrel is pretty straightforward. Okay, the upper portion, just remove the kind of all the screws, and you have so-called the entire assembly. You can take it out as one whole, and then you just need to unscrew the 3 long screws, and things can be taken apart. So that's pretty straightforward. And after that, okay, it's a matter of replacing all the parts. Now, one part that is particularly difficult to remove is the red kind of I think the bolt, okay, from the white piece itself. To remove it, I actually have kind of prepared kind of hot water. I think from a kettle is like 100 degrees. Then I soak the entire red piece together with the white piece, submerge it in a way whereby the glue contacts. Leave it for there about 4 to 5 minutes, and then after that, kind of cool it down. Then I kind of twist it with a little bit of force to wiggle it, and you can remove it. So that's how I got the red kind of piece removed from the white piece. Now after that, of course, it's a matter of gluing it back and then replace everything. Now for the bottom piece itself, you first remove the 3 black screws to get to the kind of the safety. Now I realize I think later on I'll talk about the safety is pretty important, and be careful when you remove this because there is a spring and a ball bearing, okay, inside here. So remove it slowly, or if not, things will spring out, and then you have a tough time, especially to locate the ball bearing. Okay, so that's something that to take note of if you are doing this replacement. Right, so after which you remove all the screws and you get access to all the gears within, and then of course you start to replace all the parts. Now one of the pieces is to replace the trigger itself. Now to replace the trigger, there is a micro switch with a kind of a roller on top of it. Now they need this roller because it kind of to tell the system when they can stop, okay, the so-called the movement of the gear. Now previously it relies on this roller as well as the kind of the white piece that's part of the gear. So in order to install the new trigger, to not rely on the roller, it actually now relies on the trigger design itself. You need to cut the kind of that the roller away. So that's what I did, and then I installed the trigger itself. So this is just one part that you need to be careful of, okay. And after that, it's just a matter of putting everything back. Yeah, so now we can go for the firing. Alright, my final thoughts for the blaster itself. This thing is definitely a beast. It is like it's rough, and it's basically there's no much of a gimmick. It's just a blaster with a safety, and when you press it, it's just full auto. Basically for a single shot you basically just press and release, and then you'll rely on the so-called motor braking to have a full auto. So that is also why the safety is actually important. So that is, well, when I open up the blaster and do some of the so-called switching of the parts, I realized that there might be a potential of a runaway kind of situation, because it actually relies on a gear to get the kind of connection going if no, it's not in the correct position. So there is possibility of a runaway. So far I have not experienced much. At most it fire off 2 rounds and it will stop. If it's like no, it doesn't achieve the single shot, it basically just fire 1 more round and it will stop. But that's why I still feel there is a need for safety. So if anything happens, you can switch the safety and the whole system will kind of cut off from power. So that is that. So is this blaster for everyone? I would say no. Right, so if you do not have any modding experience, I think this blaster might not be a good first blaster for you. Okay, and there is definitely a chances that you might hit some problem, which I did. I'm going to show you what is the kind of situation that I got into. Now, one question is, a lot of people ask, is the shell kind of strong enough to rehold the recoil? I'll say that the recoil is not something that is not manageable, but it's definitely not something that is very light. Okay, you do feel it, and I'm not too sure actually whether the shell is going to hold after a prolonged usage. I mean, it's still holding up now, but looking at repeating firing, I do have my doubts. Okay, having experienced it. And the thing is, this is not something that you want to drop onto the floor, right? Yeah, so that's that. And not just kind of the movement of all this kind of firing, it's not just going to affect the kind of the plunger portion of it. It might also affect the connection. And I did have one of the connection of the switch that leads to the capacity that is kind of broke off from the connection, which I'll show you the picture. As you can see, the soldering after kind of the firing and the vibrating of the whole system itself, it actually came off. Right, so I do have to solder it back, and at the same time I took the opportunity to also strengthen the other connection that is easily accessible at that point of time. So there are a few connections over there. Who knows? Okay, there is a possibility of detaching, and you do have to have the ability to solder. Like I said, it's not for everyone. It's someone have the ability to do some modding basic to kind of work on the blaster itself. Right, so this is my kind of my thought. Definitely a fun blaster to play with. I do not like the magazine release. It's a little bit too short and too sharp, and of course the mag well itself is a little bit tight and there's no flare kind of stuff. You have to put it in. However, this blaster actually to me have a lot of kind of modding potential, and it does pick my kind of interest, and I wanted to do things for it. So if you are a modder, I guess this is something that will keep you occupied for quite some time, and you bring ideas for you, and then you can actually do a lot more. And we have already seen some modders have already converted it into a bullpup blaster itself, which is pretty interesting. And for myself, probably I'm gonna design something and have fun with it. Yeah, it is a blaster. If you want to know is it practical, probably you need a stock attachment to really steady the blaster before you can say that it's useful. And when it comes, you buy and make sure you check that it has the so-called updated parts, not the white color parts. Those are very fragile. Even with the updated parts, I will also still recommend the metal catch for the system itself, as well as the guide and the upgrade barrel. Okay, without the barrel, your dust is going to hit the plastic kind of barrel, and it's not going to be accurate, nor is it going to produce a good performance. So all in all, is it a recommend? I will say, if you are a modder, I will say this blaster is going to bring you quite a fair bit of fun, and you will enjoy having ideas coming to you, what you want to do with it. So it's the recommend if you are into such things. Is it a first blaster for inexperienced people who have never modded before? No, definitely not. And then yeah, so that is my thought. I'm Tungsten. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Bye.